Right, now I am.
Right, 9:30 a.m. Sunday morning. Let's strip this down as fast as we can. Yeah, no. All right, baby. Right, so we've obviously got all new seals. We're just cleaning, and as we fit them very carefully, we'll just put a little bit of engine oil on them. You don't want to put these things in dry, otherwise you can damage the lips. Oh, that's not meant to be rude, but you've just made it rude, okay?
I didn't.
Yes, you did.
I didn't. Right.
All right, welcome back to episode 11. Remember last week we were cleaning and working on bits and pieces and practicing our reassembly. We're going to crack straight into it. So first things we've got is this transmission outer case, which is here. And if you recall, Adam has a problem with his bearing here. We did speak to the engineer. We can take that Suzuki bearing, which has basically got the same width. It's got the same inner diameter, but the outer diameter is 1 millimeter smaller. So we'll make a sleeve for that and fit that for, into Adam's. But at the moment, this is a standard Yamaha one, so it's all good. These two bearings are fine. We've changed this seal, and this outer seal. We've taken this collar out, cleaned it, lubricated it with 1030 oil before sliding it back in. The next stage is the dowel pins in the case, which they're there. There's one. There's the other. Okay, so the dowel pins are there ready to go. There's washer number 7, which goes on to the sub-assembly, the main axle sub-assembly, which is this one. There's the washer. So that's going to go in against that bearing. And then we've got the other sub-assembly, which is the drive axle. There's no ring on there. This all needs to be in good order, which it is. We're going to we're just going to put these two together. And the way that they fit together is very simple, like that. Might look a little bit strange, because now you've got this long protrusion there and a short one there, but that's going to go into the bearing. That's going to go into the collar. This is going to protrude out, and that's where your sprocket drive is going to go. So the easiest way I've found to do this so far is to slide them in very, very gently, supporting the collar so it doesn't come pushing out the other side. Line it up with a bearing. In she goes. Okay, so that's basically in together. Next thing is the shift forks. Notice the shift forks, we've got basically 3. Okay, we've got this rod that's going to slide through them. And we've got these round lobes which are going to engage with the shift cam when they're in operation. So let's not panic too much about this. We'll just lay this down onto its side. And we see in here there's a nice little groove cutaway. And there's another one here. And then there's one on the main axle here. You see it?
Yeah. Cool.
Okay. So we're going to drop the outside two, going to go onto there. I'm just going to slide this rod back a little bit to give myself a little bit more room. If you come around this side, you see this middle one, she's almost ready just to slide down onto there. Mm-hmm. All right. There we go. Okay, so that's fitting together perfectly. Now, with the 3 shift forks engaged, you see the receiver, the hole there? Mm-hmm. We can just slide that home. There. That bit's all now together. Now we've got the shift cam. Okay, there is a washer on the end of the shift cam. I'll make sure that's there. The end with the little pressed spring-loaded ball bearing there. That's sort of how your neutral switch goes together. There's your neutral switch in here. Yeah, and this end, this is going to go into here. Now, as we go to line it up, you'll notice straight away that the grooves want to line up with these protrusions in here. So a small amount of jiggling. This middle one, there we go. Right, so having moved those, that allowed me to line this up so that it's not going to go in cockeyed into that slot there. All right. There we have that part all together. So,
well done.
Well done. No need to panic. Nice and easy.
Tie on the back.
Oh, hold on. There's one more piece. You ready?
Go on then.
All right. So I incorrectly the other week I started talking about how there was a gasket missing for this outer case. There isn't. It is the gasket goo. Where do we put that? So Yamaha 3-bond 1104 Neo Plus. Okay, so we did the washer, we did the shift cam, we did the guide bar. Number 1's the guide bar. That's all gone into the transmission cover. Step 4, apply Yamaha bond 1215 to the transmission cover matching surface, which is this, all the way around. All right, so we'll do that. So having applied the bond, while holding the transmission assembly, install the transmission assembly into the crankcase. Caution, when installing the transmission assembly, be sure that the shift cam segment star, remember this bit?
Hold on.
Oh, this bit, shift cam segment star, okay, aligns with its corresponding contours in the crankcase. So what I've been doing is basically lining up the neutral switch and the contact at the back. And in doing so, typically that seems to line up. So we'll see how we go. So with the engine case laid on the bench this way round, yeah, so the top is at the top. Mm-hmm. Then we've got this panhandle affair sticking out here. Mm. Well, that lines up with this part here. Mm-hmm. All right. So keeping everything together very carefully, offer her up. And you can almost, there you go, support which comes in. Okay, now come around this side. Do you see this?
I can see your hand.
Okay. Well, I've got a slight problem because it's just as well it's happened anyway. The shift cam star is misaligned. If I was to go pushing like crazy at the moment, see how the stars are interfering with these parts?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're just going to rotate. There we go. See how it lines up now?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I think we're going to, if in doubt, pull it out, start again. Okay, so rather than sort of just go at it like an ape, right, clearly it wasn't going together. I've just sat this back down, reseated everything. All right, transmission cover tightened to 10 Newton meters. All right, we did that. We went around a few times just to be on the safe side. All good. Okay, as we continue rebuilding the engine, over here to the manual, the workshop manual process, it says install the half clips. So there are 3 half clips to go in. Dowel pins, 2 of those. Note, insert the bearing clips completely into the crankcase positioning grooves. Number 2, place the oil seals onto the crankshafts, upper crankshaft, lower crankshaft. Install the upper and lower, the balancer shaft, the blind seals. Here's a note for you. Insert the oil seal and the blind seal flanges completely into the crankcase positioning grooves. Be careful not to damage the seals during installation. Be careful not to damage the crankcase during installation, and apply the bond to seal it on the crankcase matching surfaces. Over here, what have we done? We've decoked all of the pistons. We've removed all of the rings, ready for the new ones which come in later on. You've got the expander ring which is in the base there. Then you've got the lower ring and then the upper ring. You can tell the 2 apart because they're different thicknesses. Yeah, you can see that, can't you? Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. And also you can tell the orientation is supposed to go in because there is a step. Everyone see that all right?
I think so.
Yeah, you see a little step here?
Yeah.
You're just humouring me, aren't you?
Yeah.
Okay, trust me.
I've got to phone in front of my face.
Alright, well, anyway, trust me, there is a step in those rings. Right, what else? Okay, so the bearings themselves have got a little peg on, they go into the recess. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Get down, you bugger. 9, 10. Okay. Oil seals, 1, 2, 3, and then blind seals 1 and 2. So a small blind seal, large blind seal. These only got remanufactured earlier part of the year by Yambits. The orientation of these crankshaft seals is very important. The only piece of information I've managed to lock down properly is well, actually there's about 3 clues I've used so far. Clue number 1 is the orientation that they were in when they came off. So there is a castellated portion on the left hand side that's closest to the bearing. There is a manufacturer that sells these seals, and I'll include his little note in there, but he also says castellated side to the bearing. And I believe the purpose of that is so that when the air fuel mixture is circulating around, it keeps the bearings cool, and it can do so because of the castellations. Right, so castellations against the bearing on the right hand side. Meanwhile, on the left hand side, it's a totally different type of seal. It doesn't have castellations on it, different size, etc, etc. There is only air on this side with the generator. Now, it is massively important with 2-stroke engines that you're not sucking air in somewhere or sucking oil in somewhere. These things are running on the point of detonation anyway, so you don't want to screw up the mixture by having an air leak in there. If I haven't mentioned it already, we will be doing a leak test on this engine later on. Not in this episode, of course, but later on. All right, what have we got? We've got the upper case here, both dowel pins as mentioned earlier. And I've put oil around each of these areas here. So it's ready to go together. But the sealant at the moment, I'm just going to be putting it on the matching faces of this. I'm not putting sealant all around here. Yeah, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
We'll find out in another episode when we do the leak down test whether or not I stuffed that up and maybe it should have gone in there. But the way I'm interpreting what it's written here, apply Yamaha Bond 1215 to the crankcase matching surfaces. So I'm taking that sort of surface, this flat surface, as being the matching surface. So we're a week or 2 away from running this engine up anyway. So in the comments when you're watching this, if you think I've done it completely wrong, for God's sake, put a note in the comment. Anyway, we'll whack this together and talk it down.
Right.
So you thought I'd just finished that then, didn't you? And I was explaining that was just a test fit and I needed to put something.
Of course.
Right, top tip, always have your wife there because she might remind you, you've got to put that on before you put that on. Okay.
You're on.
I'm on. Okay. So, having been correctly supervised by an adult and reminded I needed to put some sealant on the maintenance surfaces before putting the lid down, we've now gone and refitted it again. And so far so good. So I think our next step is install the crankcase upper, check, tighten the bolts, the nuts. Note the embossed numbers on the crankcase designate the crankcase tightening sequence. The bolts go to 24 Newton meters, and the nuts go to 22 Newton meters. And then if you look at the diagram, we've got A, B, and C. A is a nut. Sorry, get my finger out of the way. A is a nut with a washer. So nut with a washer there. And B's are black colour bolts there. And then C is hexagon socket bolt with washer. Oh yeah, these two. The two that I forgot to remove when I was dismantling this engine and stuffed up, right? So those are the C's. Okay, well they're the last 2 going in because they're 17 and 18. So where we're going to start, where's number 1? Number 1's here. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. A typical sort of offset star pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6, 7, 8. So we'll do those 8 in the middle. And then we go 9, 10, 11, 12. And then from underneath, I think it is anyway, 13, 14, 15, 16. And then we go the last 2 in there.
Yeah, whatever he said.
Whatever he said. All right. And by the way, those 2 bolts cost me $30 from Japan. And then I went up the road and found some from a fastening company for $3.
Amazing.
Amazing. There you go. All right.
Concentration.
We've put the transmission back together, and then we've put the crankshafts and the seals in and put the top case, torque that down. So the next thing we're going to do is, as per the oil pump, little O-ring that goes in here. So we've got that there. You've got two little pins that will drop out if you're not careful. Oh, wait a minute. So just had to go back and have a quick look at episode 8, and because when I'm reading the manual, it wasn't coming across massively clear about the transmission drive. So the transmission oil pump is here, and we've cleaned off a little bit of garbage that was in there. We've got the 2 screws to mount it and all the parts there, the little O-rings back in, and this is the shaft that you disconnect from the other side, which now needs to go in. Okay, now we've got the other pump, because what's interesting to me about this anyway is, can you see this under the shaft there? Mm-hmm. Right, if that shaft came this way, then that pin can fall out and you lose all drive. So what's going to happen is, as we mount this, see that shiny pin and this shiny pin? Mm-hmm. They go in that hole and that hole, and everything's held that way. This just needs to match into those splines, but then the end of that shaft is going to be held by that little nipple there.
Right.
Interesting, I think.
Very.
Well, if there's anything you wanted to look at, that's the last chance you got. Because so I'll whack these in. I don't know what torque setting these are. FT. If I remember right there, oops, I had to use the impact drive to get them out.
Yeah.
Okay, quick note to self. The transmission oil pump housing is missing one of these shorter bolts. I'll just pop that out next Friday and take it to the fastener shop and get a replacement. So shift cam stopper lever, spring, stop lever, bolt. I sound like I was going to do a fucking, what's his name?
Yeah,
And he goes,
well.
Tommy Cooper assembling an RD engine.
Come on.
Okay. Right. Shift cam stopper lever, spring, stopper lever, bolt. Okay, so that's going to go in there. Remember, there's a little recess for it, for its tail.
Right.
That captivated hook is going to hold this. Mm-hmm. This edge here, this wheel, is going to roll on there. I'll show you the finished position in a second. So you get all 3 things together.
Slip your fingers in the way.
Yeah, you get your fingers in the way, right? But it's loose enough that you can actually get the bolt started. Mm-hmm. Nothing's actually in the correct position at this moment in time. You're just getting it started. Now the spring, right, so the tail's just gone into there.
Yeah.
All right. Now I'm just gonna allow it to snap on my finger. Yeah. You find that funny a bit. Right. It is. I just had it on. You were so long feeding Bailey.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Two secs. Tweak up. Okay, and this goes to 10 Newton meters. I'll give a torque thingy out. But just before I do that, I'm just going to take the pressure off of that for a sec. And you can still move this, so that's going to do its thing. If I move that now, see how it's nice and neat, it's all smooth in there. Alright, so I'm just going to torque that up to 10 Newton meters.
Do you want to do that again? So then it does record.
Hey? Fucking wind up merchant. Alright.
Run them. Get going.
I'm already at 10 Newton meters, alright. I have my own strength.
Cool.
Check smooth operating after, yeah, okay. Install chain shaft. It looks okay, but I just want to clean this up just a touch, sorry. I don't know if this is the same as 350s, but 350s are bloody terrible for leaking along the gearbox shaft, gear change shaft. So if you've got a little bit of a burr on it, it's worth taking it off before you put it in there. And we've just put brand new seal on the other side.
Yeah, you don't need to bugger it.
No, I don't want to bugger it. What are you grinning for?
I'm not fucking.
Hey?
Stop.
You what?
Stop.
Was it getting X-rated?
Stop.
There is a little bit of wear in this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's smooth though, it's got no burrs, so that's alright. Before I do that, I'm just going to do what I've been doing most of the way through. Whoops. Some oil. So we can introduce it to that. Okay, so the springy fork is going on there.
Yeah.
How easy is that?
They hadn't.
Ready to go? Alright, so install chain shaft, done. Now we're going to do the primary gear, which is this one, the lower crankshaft. And then we're going to do the upper crankshaft. And remember when we were stripping this down, we were talking about alignment marks on the case. See it there?
Yeah.
Right, and there's another one over there. And then there's a circle on the balancer shaft.
Yep.
Right, so all three of these things are going to come into play shortly. So I'll just read it and then we'll do it. Okay, lower crankshaft. So we're going to do the drive gear, which is the balancer gear, the key, the primary gear, then the zero lash gear, the plate washer, then the conical washer, then we've got the drive gear for the water pump, another conical washer, and then the nut. Okay?
Yeah.
Cool. Right, so whilst I'm going to pop this on, really what we need to do, I might just put that in there after, but okay, whatever, is we're going to align these two. See how they're just lined up now? Well, you can't, can you? Right, see that circle on there?
Yeah.
And that circle on there?
Yeah.
Okay. And all I did there was just turn them until that was lined up. Right. Okay. Now we're going to go with this one, which also goes over that slight keyway. Cool. Then we've got the backlash gear, or zero lash gear, which can freely move around at the moment. Then we've got this plate washer. And we've got, after the plate washer, we've got a conical washer. These have got a concave side to them. So it works kind of like a spring. I'm not sure if we used to call these a Belleville washer. Okay, conical washer, drive gear for the water pump. Now that's got, that actually fits. I might as well put them together. That actually fits like that, you see? There we go. Right, now that's in there. Okay, and then we've got another conical washer, and you always put the concave side facing that. So as you're tightening this nut, it'll be on in a bit. So it's pressing down like a spring. Yeah. However, we don't tighten this at present. Cool. What's next? Okay, well, we knew to do it anyway, but here's the note. We'll just read it out in sequence. Make sure that the punch mark on the drive gear 1 aligns with the painted circle on the balancer gear 2, which is over here. And you see they're nicely lined up with each other.
Yeah.
Okay. So another note, make sure that the gear having discriminating cuts, number 1, this one, that's that black backlash gear there, right? So if you see here, there's little grooves.
Yeah.
Yeah, in 4 points. Okay, so where were we? That the recessed surface is facing outward, which it is. You just saw that. A for the upper crankshaft, B for the lower crankshaft, and make sure that the black coated gear, this one, is installed with the lower crankshaft, which it is, with the recessed surface facing outward, which it is. A for upper, B for lower, primary gear, upper crankshaft. Now install the collar. Right, okay, I'll lay these out in order again. 1 is the collar, 2 is the key, 3, 4, and 5, which is the primary gear, zero lash gear, and the plate washer. They're all together. Never disassembled them really. They're a bit sort of sticky together. 6 is the conical washer, 7 is the collar, then 8 we've got another conical washer, and 9 is the nut. Install blah 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 blah. Install conical washer with the concave side facing outward. Finger tighten the nut. Do not tighten the nut at this point. So we'll put this collar on. Let's give it a wipe spot on. Key.
You got it to bits.
I got it to bits, yeah. I had to, because I couldn't properly see the mark. See the letter?
Oh, yeah.
I can't see any of the marks there, so I'm going to go with that for a moment. And I'll just quickly line that up with the mark on the case.
Nice.
In fact, I've just realised something.
What?
Okay, just to explain how this works. So it doesn't matter. I shouldn't be trying to line this up at the minute, because this is the lower crankshaft. This drives the balancer shaft, if you follow me. So I'll just pop that back so that the dots are all lined up, all right? Right, so they're spot on together. This drives that. This does not drive that. This is going to go down to the clutch basket.
Right.
So we'll do the alignment when it comes to that piece.
Okay, right.
That's why I was thinking, oh, that doesn't seem to fit right, but yeah, that's why. Oh, and you notice how this one is sort of silver in colour and this one is black?
Yeah.
So it spins. It's only held in place by the friction of this when you tighten a nut. That all makes sense. Cool. What do they call it? Velvet washer? Concave washer, that way down. With a, what do we call this? We call that a collar. Make sure that's clean. Put those two together, see how they fit nice.
I was going to say, is this like last time?
It's just like last time, yeah. And Dave just drops it. There we go. Okay. Another concave washer going on with the dished side facing that. And the nut going on. Hand tight. Okay, what's next? Just making a bit of a mess of Adam, but hopefully he's got a video to watch instead. Okay, install the kick gear and pump gear. Right, install oil pump gear, number 4. Where's that? There. That looks like this. Yeah. Then the oil pump gear for the engine oil. Oh yeah, that's one. Remember with the flat end on it. Remember that's a 2-stroke oil pump. Okay, and then the kick idle gear, which was the big gear. And then the kick gear, which is that assembly there.
Right, yeah.
Right, so we're doing the oil pump gear for the transmission. So first of all, there's a washer. And then there's a small pin that goes through the shaft. And then you've got this. Now we've got a washer to go over there. And then you've got this slightly weird circlip. When I say slightly weird, it's only because it doesn't have proper eyelets. All good. Okay, having done that, we now go for the engine oil, the 2-stroke oil.
Edit.
Edit. Quick. Make me look good in the edit. Like I know what I'm doing. Oh, you see that? Fishing with a screwdriver. Okay. Put that on there. And with my third hand, and my thumb.
People say men can't multitask.
I've had practice, babes. I haven't quite got that all the way on there. It's not fully home.
Go on, say it. I didn't have tea.
Okay, that looks, it's almost there. Is it there? Is it there though? Are you sure?
I don't know.
Well, there's a fair bet. If I can rotate it around in a circle, then it's in the groove. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because otherwise it'd be too tight.
As soon as I can't see that because you've got a screwdriver in the way, I trust you.
Okay, right. That's that. What's next?
Right.
Okay, right. So kick idle gear there, followed by a washer,
wobbly.
Yeah, you're all good, babe, don't worry. And then we've got another circlip. Sorry if I'm obscuring the camera. There you go. Let's just make sure I've got that on there. What I was talking about earlier was if you can do that, if you can sort of spin it around, generally it's because you're actually home in the groove.
Yeah.
Right. What you don't want to do is leave it part on, part off, and then it pop off and go ping around in the engine.
Yeah.
That's not a good day. Okay, what's next? The kick gear. Okay. Right, that's the washer that goes in there. I know that. This all goes.
All good.
Well, yes and no. I've got a washer. I'm a bit concerned at that. Maybe I've missed a washer from something. Oh yeah, okay. Let's get my trusty dusty exhaust spring hanger tool. Bring her around here. Something like that. Yeah? Okay, now I've still got a problem because I've got this washer here and I'm wondering, did I miss a washer somewhere? Let's just clock backwards a sec. So we're discussing where was the extra washer from. I think it's from the kick idle gear, so I think it goes on there. Right. Then you've got the kick idle gear with a shiny face that's going to go against that. And then you've got its washer and its circlip. Now, obviously, normally the kick gear would go on last after this, but I'm just holding it against the spring pressure there. Perfectly manageable, yeah.
Okay, you're giving me a nudge.
Yeah.
So if you have a wobble.
Okay, so that's still snug in there. Right, I'm happy with that now. I don't like it when I've got parts left over.
Yeah.
Might be a bit of weight saving for racing or something, but yeah, it's never good if you've got bits left over. So I always try to figure out where they go. Anyway, okay, so the first thing we did was we lined up circle to circle between the lower crankshaft and the balance shaft. Yes? Okay. Then we installed all these bits and pieces here, and obviously the upper crankshaft, but the upper crankshaft and the lower crankshaft are not connected at this stage in any way, shape or form. So now what we're going to do, rotate this until the mark on the case there and that little circle line up. We don't need to worry about the balance shaft, it was already lined up now, so that now becomes the reference point here. And the upper one, can you see there, punch mark on that?
Yeah, I'm sure yours will be anyway.
Yeah, well, I thought it was going to be in a similar place to this. Good girl, good girl. Right. Yeah, so I thought it was going to be a similar point, you know, like you've got a circle on the outside of that sprocket there, or cog.
Baby banging against me.
Yeah, I know, sorry, but you got this smooth plate. I can't remember what they called it, but that smooth plate is key weight onto the shaft, and the circle is on. I can't see it because the camera's in the way. All right, yeah. So that circle, that dot, that punch mark is lined up with this.
Yeah.
You know, earlier on I was looking for like an E or something on here. No, it's nothing to do with it. Okay. And also your telltale, just to give yourself a little bit of confidence, is piston 1, piston 2, piston 3, piston 4. So 2 and 3 are currently at top dead center, or you know, they're basically ready to fire, and 1 and 4 are down. All right, so that's how it works. It's diagonally across when they fire.
Yeah.
They fire at the same time. I think there's about maybe 2.5 degrees of timing difference on the rear or something. But anyway, so we've lined that up and that up. We'll move on to the next piece.
More reading, yeah. There you go.
So if you remember, I've set some stuff up over here. Remember the ball bearing and the washer? I'll whack that in there, the ball bearing in there. There's a little O-ring on here. Okay, so that's all. Push that in there. And if I was not leaning on it, there you go, the shaft. On the left side of the bike, when you operate your clutch, that's what's happening there.
Cool.
Okay. I've undone all of the screws and the pressure springs. All right. Now you got the guts of the clutch. So quick check. That dot lined up with that mark there. This, where am I? Circle lined up with that mark there, and with me moving things around, it had disturbed it a little bit, so it's very important to check that. Now we're going to pop these on, and when we do, you're going to be effectively through this gear, you're going to be connecting that and that, if that makes sense.
Cool.
Just check it.
Okay.
Yeah, my dots are lined up.
Cool. Right, I'm going to pause and get this stupid ball.
90. And okay, they're all 90 then. Eh? I'm on. Okay. So we will be taking this off again next week. I've just got to order the thing, and I just want to get ahead because it doesn't take long to take a clutch apart. Place a piece of rolled rag or a piece of lead between the primary gears and tighten the primary gear securing nuts. Right, so I think what they're suggesting, so all of these are going to be able to move, is to feed a piece of rag in here until it jams. See, it's jammed? Cool. 85 Newton meters. That's the size. It's 24 mil. I'm just making sure that the only thing that's actually truly stopping this from moving right now is that rag. 85, yeah, okay, that's good. All right. Thank you. There we go. So we spent $350 on some parts of the power valve, some piston rings and some other sundry items. So that takes a total spend to 7,723 Australian dollars plus the cost of the bike. In terms of time wise, we started the project, episode 1 went out on October the 21st. We had already done about 4 days worth of work. Each episode is basically a day. Like today we've done about 9.5 hours, haven't we, Donna?
Yes, we have.
All right. So that takes our total work of 15 days on this bike. That's from stripping the bike down and to where we are now, 15 days. 8-9 hour days, typically 9.5 hours today. Anyway, that's the whole point. So 15 days, knocking on for about 8,000 Australian dollars or 4,000 pounds has got us to the point where we're at now. And so we've got good cranks, good crank bearings, nice clean pistons, brand new rings ready to go. Perfectly serviceable barrels that will just go and home, skim the heads, and I'm hoping by the end of play next weekend we can have it together, possibly start looking at putting them in the frame. That'd be nice. All right, what do you reckon, Trace? Well done?
Sure.
All right.
I'm cooking tea, let's go.